PSG of Mercer County is very pleased to welcome Janice Coleman. Our speaker today, Janice, prepares people to perform. She has built a dynamic reputation for expertise and ability to provide her clients and audiences with a competitive edge in the marketplace. Over 25 years ago, Janice started her career in information technology, it's close to my heart, where she worked as a leader in the insurance industry in the greater Philadelphia area. Then she moved into this space that brings her so much joy. She helps people to live out loud, play full out, and be invincible in their space. Janice has worked with people from the classroom to the boardroom for over 20 years. She's a proven expert in the career arena and has helped hundreds of professionals to start, regain, and strengthen their professional stance, helping them to find the job they love and the ones that love them. Her book, 26 Doses of Career Triage, is designed to put health back into your career. It can be found on Amazon, or you can contact Janice directly for an autographed copy, and I'll provide her contact information shortly. So PSG of Mercer County is always pleased to welcome back the very dynamic Janice Coleman.
Thank you, David. Thank you so very much. I am so excited to be here with all of you today in this hybrid opportunity to talk about careers. And now I have my screen is being shared and we are recording. And I just want you to know that it's wonderful to see your faces, and I would not mind if you turn your cameras on. That would be amazing. If you don't turn your cameras on, you know, we'll kind of live to tell the story, but you know, we really would like to see you in this space. So we're going to have opportunity for Q&A at several points during this particular presentation. We'll have a halftime. As you can see, we are in the baseball mode, even though my program, Career Triage, is wrapped around a medical theme. I call it Career Triage because for over 20 years, I have learned that what I basically have been doing is like taking people into an emergency room. And if you've ever been in an emergency room, you know that you have a triage professional who identifies what your problems are, what your injuries are. They will begin to organize or prioritize it or the injuries, and then they will provide you with a prescription based on severity of those injuries. And so for 20 years, basically, I've learned that if a person's career is in the ER and they're trying to keep it from going to the morgue, they need triage. And so that's why I designed the book, 26 Doses of Career Triage, a little medicine to help revive your career. So everyone, we are in the basketball theme today. As I mentioned, Career Triage is a medical theme. However, today we are in basketball simply because I want everybody to know that we are in a game in the marketplace. And if you hadn't noticed, some of the rules have changed, right? For those of us who have been in the marketplace, for a long time, you know, and I know that the rules have changed. So if you're going to play a game, you need to know what the rules are and you need to know them well in order to win. So we're going to talk about going hard in the paint with regard to your job search in 2022. And how many people are ready to go hard in the paint? If you are on camera, if you could raise your hand just to let me know if you are ready to go hard in the paint. Okay, so I see hands waving. I see a few folks that just said, okay, I'm sort of kind of ready to go hard in the paint. But there are some of us that do like this. So it is important for us to understand this. There was a term that David used, and he used a job seeker mindset. Job seeker mindset. So ultimately, through this presentation, we're going to talk about two things. We're going to talk about some of the strategies, but we're going to talk about mindset, because your mindset plus your skill set can determine the efficiency and the efficacy of your action set. So if you have the wrong mindset, then the things that you are doing, even the skills, you may have some great skills, but you won't be able to put them together to make a job search work. And so I'm going to tell you some things that I have shared with hundreds of people long before 2020 hit, actually way back before 2008. And everybody who was in the marketplace in 2008, you know what happened then. The whole marketplace turned upside down and turned right side up. And some of us were left swinging from the rafters when that happened. And I helped many, many people to find their footing and to find jobs they love and to find jobs that love them. And so I'm going to give you some of these strategies because I know that they work. I have proof, without a shadow of a doubt, that those are my clients who run the game, textbook, run the game, run the play, can in fact land where it is they want to land. So let us get started with this particular event. So how to go hard in the hold on a second. How to go hard in the paint with your job search in 2022. So there's some key components and then key opponents. And so you definitely have to know if you're going to have to play an offensive game or a defensive game, and people who win usually do well at both. All right. And so we definitely want to make sure that we're doing well at both of these when we have the need and the opportunity to do so. And for those of us who are not necessarily basketball aficionados, don't worry, I will not test you at the end to find out if you caught all of the information that if you were picking up what I was putting down with regard to some of the terms. However, I will explain those terms that really are important with regard to this concept, because it's important for us to, again, realize we're in a what? Somebody throw it in the chat. We're in a, all right, did somebody say game yet? If we're in the game, we're in the game. And we have to realize that if you want to play it, we got to play it well. I was in a conference the other day, actually on Clubhouse, and it was around careers. And one of the gentlemen, we were talking about interviewing, and he said, you got to bring your A game. And as he was saying that, and anybody who's been in Clubhouse, you know that you can't see people. It's not visual, it's only audio. And so as he said that, a light bulb went off in my head. And I raised my hand and I said, you know what? I just realized I don't have any other game other than my A game. Why are we coming to a job search with any game other than an A game? So we are going to set ourselves up. Our mindset has to be that all we bring to the table is an A game. And that is definitely how we're going to win. I just saw somebody said that Larry Bird walked into one of the championship games one time, and he was like, I just wanted to, come and shake your hand because I just want to see the person that's coming in second, because I'm planning on coming in first today. So, that's how we roll when we're talking about our job search and the things that we have to do in order to be effective in our job search. So let's move forward. Creating and executing a job search strategy can be challenging. There is no doubt. Whether you are new in the marketplace, I was just talking to my 22-year-old son, and he was saying one of the biggest challenges that he feels people in his age group experience is applying for even an entry-level job and having the expectation that they have experience. When they don't have experience, if they don't have those types of jobs, how can they have experience? So that's their challenge. And then when you move on the other side of those newbies coming in, for those of us who are newbies, you're going to get the experience, and there are things you have to do to get the experience. But then on the other end, for those who are maybe not so new, the challenge might be you have too much experience. So regardless to where you are on that spectrum, it is going to be a challenge. It is going to be a challenge, and there are some formidable opponents out there. So the question becomes, how do you and I get prepared to meet those those challenges. We're going to learn a couple of things today. 7 things to do, in your job search, and there's 7 strategies that we're going to cover regarding that. And then 3 things to keep in mind. 1 thing never to do. 2 things. You see, I'm counting, right? Yeah. So my Philadelphia public school system education is coming into play right now. I am actually counting. 1 thing to never do, and then 2 things to jumpstart your search, and the way to overcome your 2 major obstacles. And that's always important when in any type of sport, any professional sport, and in some high level sports. One of the things they do before a game and really after the game is study their opponents. Anybody in here play sports when you were in, you might still play sports. Anybody play a game where you have an opponent that's a formidable opponent, and you have to be ready for them? Anybody, but basketball, football, and so one of the things that they do, which is very important, is to study the opponent before the game, and they study the opponent after the game, just to look at the outcomes and how their strategies worked or why their strategies didn't work, and how to get ready for the next opponent. So we always have to be in a mindset that this is a game, and we have to put on our game face and bring our A game. 3 things to keep in mind. It is never too late. One of my favorite quotes is George Eliot, and she is a she. George Eliot is her pen name. She was in England, and so it wasn't necessarily very, very open to women writing prolifically as she did during that time. She would say this: it's never too late to become what you might have been. It's never too late to become what you might have been. It's never too late to restart your job search. It's never too late to become that one thing that you thought you wanted to do maybe 10 years ago, 15 or 20 years ago. And now you're like, okay, well, I'm at the end of my career, and I always wanted to be this, but I never really launched out on it. I will tell you, my friends, today that it is never too late. Then the next thing to keep in mind is that every day is a restart. Okay, so you had an interview that didn't go very well, or you put in an application and you had this thing happen to you called cyber crickets. Anybody ever have experienced the cyber crickets? Like you hit enter and you wonder, where did my application go? Because I haven't heard from anybody. I was taken aback the other about a week or so ago. I spoke with a young lady who said that she was putting in 10 to 15 applications a week and hadn't heard anything. And I was like, step back. She was almost like on the career gurney, right? Step back, trying to revive that thing, because 15 to 20 applications a week and no responses. You need triage, okay? But every day is a restart. So draw a line in the sand. If you have a piece of paper in front of you, I want you to simply draw a linear line, point to point, draw a line, and then put an arrow from above it and put the arrow going down, because you're going to step over that line today. And today is a restart for every single one. It's like, what have you done for me lately? All of what has happened in the past is over. Now it's a restart. Today is a restart. Don't carry all of the stuff that happened before. Today is a restart. Can you do that for me? If you can, just shake your head. Shake it, yes. I'm seeing those heads, and I'm raising the hands and shaking the heads. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Every day is a restart. So the attitude that I want you all to have is that I will not be denied. I will not be denied. Thank you, Sonia, when you watch, whether it's Michael Jordan of the past, or it's a LeBron James, or it's a Steph Curry, when they take that ball in their hand and they are in the zone, in their head is a "I will not be denied." And for those amazing players, pretty much everybody on the court is saying the same thing. They won't be denied. I'm moving out the way before I get hit by that ball or by a knee or a foot or whatever, because they won't be denied. Certain people, when they're coming down the court, it seems like, you know that the other players know they've been paid to stop them and get in their way. But the bottom line is they want to get out of their way because they know that people that this player, Michael Jordan, when he gets that ball in his hand, he would not be denied. Even when Dr. J, and I know I'm dating myself and it doesn't matter because God's been good for a long time. So, but when Dr. J was on the court, he would come down that court. You had just better move. Otherwise, you were going to be part of that staircase that he used to elevate himself 4 or 5 feet up in the air to take that ball to the hoop from the top of the key. Because that's just how Dr. J rolled when he was playing ball. So in your mind, you have to say, "I will not be denied." And I'll tell you a story. A friend of mine who actually became a part of I just finished publishing a book entitled Pivot, Thriving in Times of Change. Yes, Dave in the ABA, and then he went to the NBA and he played for the Sixers for a long, long time to the end of his career. Exactly. So he was amazing. I just finished publishing a book entitled Pivot, Thriving in Times of Change. And one of my authors is actually also a career coach. And he worked for a very established company for years, over 25 years. And I think this is 2022. So in 2020, he was laid off. And from that, he began a career coach. He began his career as a career coach in his 50s. And he actually landed not one, not two, or had the opportunity to be hired, not one, not two, but three companies in his 50s. He had 3 offers and decided to transition into being a career coach. So he would not be denied what it is that he wanted, even in his 50s. So it's never too late. Every day's a restart. And say to yourself, "I will not be denied." Now, 2 ways to overcome your main obstacle. The way to overcome your 2 main obstacles is this. And I think I mentioned it when I asked you to draw the line and step over the line on the paper. Regretting the past. Now, when things are down and you have cyber crickets going on and nobody's responding to you, your network seems like it's dried up, and you're talking to yourself, but you're not saying the right things. There's actually a book entitled "What to Say When You Speak to Yourself" by Shad Helmstetter, which is an amazing book. It's all about mindset. So one major obstacle is regretting the past. So if you have ever, had these things that have haunted you, the "why didn't I do this? Why didn't that happen for me? Why didn't, when the company hired them, why didn't they promote me?" All of these different things that can haunt you. I have been there. I've been there with those things that make you think, if this had happened, I should have done that. Well, discipline yourself, discipline your mind to move beyond that, because the past is the past. The past is the past, it's gone. The future is before us, it's not here. Today is the day that we have, and that's why, and it's a gift. That's why they call it the present. So let's live in the present. Don't regret. No regret, because regret weighs tons. You have to shake it off, whatever it has been, whether it's professional or personal. Let go of the past. Do not listen to the voice of the past, because the voice of the past will keep you from moving forward. I hope that makes sense. The voice of the past will tether you to it and you will not move forward. Now, we are in fact a product of our past. We are. Everything that we have, everything that we don't have, everything that we are, how we look, how we feel, where we live, what we drive, all of that's a product of the past, right? And it doesn't matter, because the day is the present. It's the gift that we have to make our future look the way it is we want it to look. So forget regretting the past. And now don't fear the future. There's a lot of narrative. There's been more narratives from all different angles since March 2020, from all different angles. There's a lot of narrative going on everywhere we go, or whether it's news or the television or radio. So there's a lot of narrative, and we have to choose what it is that we're going to have our faith in, so that we will not be persuaded and impacted and held hostage by fear. We have to determine what we're going to believe. What narrative are we going to follow? Because the future, if you listen to the wrong people, the future really looks bleak if you listen to the wrong narrative. So I wish I had my sunglasses up here. Usually I have my sunglasses and I put them on and I say, I wear my sunglasses because my future looks so bright. And that's how I feel about my personal future. I'm learning to forget what the past has been. I revel in the successes, and I leverage them, and I learn. Nelson Mandela said, I either win or I learn. So I leverage what I've learned in order to make my future become what it is. Of course, there are a lot of things that can impact our future, that can impact us. But how we look at what we look at and what we think about what we look at really determines how we feel. Because hard times always come, and only way through is through. So if we never get out of the bed, or we never hit enter, how many people have ever had what I call resume-ophobia? Like, you just don't even want to send another resume, right? I just don't even want to send another resume. Fear, resume-ophobia. We have to get over that in order to move forward. I hope that you agree with that. We have to get over that in order. Yeah, it's fear. Fear is so crippling. Fear is so crippling, but we are stronger than we know. I guarantee you this 100% for everybody in the library and everybody online. I guarantee you 100% that you've overcome 100% of all of the problems you've ever had. You've made it through. Because if you had not made it through, you wouldn't be here right now. You've overcome, you've made it through 100% of all of the problems you've ever had. You are stronger than you know. So now we just got to kind of pull it together, get through this fear of the future, and now take on the future. Okay? 2 things you need to jumpstart your search again. Yes, back to the drawing board. Back to the drawing board. What are some of the plans that you had before? And, if you've had a career coach work with you, I know, because this is what I do with my clients, I sit down and we decide where it is we want to go. Just like with your GPS. I have my phone here. I don't have it on. If anybody has their phone on or their TV on or anything else, turn it off because they are weapons of mass distraction. Okay? Remember that, weapons of mass distraction. But when we want to go somewhere and we're going to use the GPS, the GPS already knows where we are, right? 8 satellites circling the Earth. The Earth is the 9th one, and it identifies exactly where we are. But what is the question that the GPS will always ask? Can you put it in the chat? What is the question that the GPS always asks?
Where do you want to go?
Where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? Absolutely. Thank you. So the GPS is asking that. And why is the GPS asking that? Because that's the ultimate decision maker as to how we're going to get there. And if you've ever looked at your GPS, this is amazing, but your GPS can tell you how to get to where you want to go by car, by foot, and also by public transportation. It will actually give you what lines to take. Any city, you go to any city, you can see it. It'll give you what lines to take, what time the buses and the trains come, and if they're on time. So it'll tell you how to get to wherever you want to go. So the question becomes not where you are, because you pretty much know that, but now where do you want to go? So this is the 2 things you need to plan it, and not to be a professional planner, because some of us are professional planners. I used to be a professional planner. I don't know if anybody else has done that. But like, I have books upon plans upon plans, and amazing. But the secret sauce to the plan, if you're in the game and you come in there to that huddle, look, we're talking about what we can do. Our plan is to win. Now the question is, who do we have to shut down? Who do we have to block out? Who do we have to get to foul out? Who do we have to keep at the perimeter, because if they're too far out, they can't make their shot? And who has to stick to who? Now we know what the plan is. But when we say, let's go, that means let's go. That means do it. Do it. Okay, so it's action. And you can't get overwhelmed by what's necessary in the action plan. So know your limitations, but I would say push yourself. Push yourself. Drive hard in the paint. Push yourself to be that new you. Again, at a mindset and skill set, but you also have to have action set. So these are the 2 things you need to jumpstart your search again. And remember, today is that new day. We start over today. It doesn't matter if you never had a plan about this and you were just kind of willy-nilly, applying here and sort of kind of networking there. And, I don't want to tell my family. I don't want to ask anybody. I'm going to do it on my own because I'm a self-made person. All of these things we tell ourselves, right? All of these things we tell ourselves. But whatever it is, that was yesterday. Today is new, and now we have to plan it and we have to act upon it. That's going to jumpstart you. It's going to be like night and day. I promise you, if you would get a plan, and this is how, and you can write this down. This is how I outline it. Okay, so I know where I want to go. I know how many hours. Say you want to use 20 hours a week. Now, if you are looking for a full-time job, really a full-time job becomes your full-time job. Looking for a full-time job becomes your full-time job. If anybody has ever heard that phrase, you can raise your hand or say yes in the chat. Looking for a full-time job becomes your full-time job. Even if you have a full-time job. I just want to add that in. Okay, so thank you so much. Yes, Even if you have a full-time job, looking for a full-time job becomes your full-time job until you have a new full-time job. Say that 3 times fast, right? So, so on Sunday, all right, you know where you want to go, you're planning it out, but on Sunday evening, 6 p.m. or 7 p.m., enjoy your weekend. If you've worked hard during the week, enjoy your weekend. If you haven't worked hard during the week, still enjoy your weekend, because the next Monday is a new day. So, and we're not going to stress about this. We're just going to make it easy. So you decide what your plan is going to be. And every week you have to put in those 20 hours, however it is that those 20 hours need to look. So being here with this group today is a part of that 20 hours. Okay, reviewing, review, revisit, review, revamp your resume. That's a part of that 20 hours, because if you would ensure that your resume will roll up on top of the applications when they come in, you want to customize every resume. You're hearing this from me. Customize every resume that you send out. But yeah, I said it. That's why when the young lady told me she was putting out 15 to 20 a week, I was like, what? And not getting a response? Are you serious? Oh, you need triage, lady. Because you have to customize every resume. And this is not even a part of what I want to say, but I must need to say it. That because we don't know what companies use an ATS, which is an applicant tracking system, and they compare your resume to the job description. Okay, for those who don't know, that's what happens, and that's why sometimes we get cyber crickets, because if you have an applicant tracking system that you are facing, this is an opponent, you're facing this opponent, you have an applicant tracking system and you're facing it, and your resume has not been customized, then what's going to happen when your resume comes up against that applicant tracking system? Your resume is going to lose every time. So if it's not customized, if your resume is not customized, that's probably going to be the only not so good news I'm going to tell you today. But what I can tell you is there are two, right? Exactly. They will be thrown out. It won't even be looked at. It's almost worse than being put in front of a generalist, and they have a stack of 100 resumes and yours doesn't even make the cut. But now it's even more cutthroat than that, because that applicant tracking system goes boom, 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 boom. It's not personal. It's nothing personal. It's just business. Okay. So your action plan, when you're looking at Sunday, you have to make sure that your calendar, if you're using your calendar, Google Calendar or whatever calendar you're using, has to be filled with career search activities. 20 hours, 30 hours of career search activities. So on Sunday, you're going to make sure that your calendar is filled, whether it's in networking, whether it's applications, whether it's research, whether it's, whatever it is that you're doing, you got to make sure that those hours are in your calendar. And when you put them in the calendar, put them in green for money. Color coded green for money. Okay? Y'all like that? Color coded in green for money. And then make it happen from Monday to Friday. Make that action plan happen. Friday afternoon, you want to just check and see that you did what you said you were going to do. But then Friday afternoon to Sunday evening, take off for good behavior. Okay, I'll give y'all that. Take off for good behavior, because a job search is stressful. I don't know about you all, but I know a job search is stressful. Okay, and then one non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. Everybody say, and I know we can't hear. You can even come off mute if you want. I want y'all to say this. Non-negotiable. One non-negotiable. Never quit. Never quit. It is not over till you win. Never ever quit. Because that next opportunity, that next job, that next, step up, that next connection is right around the corner. So never, ever quit. Just when you think it's not going to happen, still never, ever quit. That is non-negotiable. I will not quit. I'm like a dog with a bone. I'm like running water. You dam me up one way, I'm coming another way. Never, ever quit. I hope that you all are feeling the urgency that I want to convey to you, because you know, you got this. We have to reset. And this is a Friday, which means you got Saturday and Sunday to get the new plan together, to get those new action steps together, to fix your mindset and look at your skill set and put that action set together, because Monday is coming and you are a formidable opponent with regard to this. So this is halftime. And I mentioned to you Career Triage. Career Triage is my signature program. So if you feel like your career is in the ER and you're trying to keep it from going to the morgue, you need Triage. So what I want to do is unshare my screen so that I can, well, actually, I don't need to unshare it. I will just look at any questions in the chat. And then if you have any questions, if you want to just raise your hand. Okay, here's your questions in one of two ways via chat, right? So let me see.
And do remember, if you're going to raise your hand, turn your camera on.
Yes, please turn your camera on. We cannot entertain questions to a black square.
You know, or of course you can put your question in chat. How about here? Any of you folks here have a question you want to ask of Janice? Now's an opportunity. Well, there'll be time a little later as well.
Yes, the slideshow for this program. Oh no, the slideshow won't be. The slides won't be available, but the video will be. The recording will be.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that later.
We'll talk about more. Let me see. And I appreciate everyone who's engaging in the chat. That's, you know, that's always a lot of fun to do that. Any questions at all? All right.
Yeah, not here. We're good.
You have one there?
No, we're good. Their eyes are open. There's a good sign. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, you know what? I'm going to put me on. Only people that I'm going to be able to see are on active camera. So anybody who has an active camera, I'll be able to see you. So that way it'll be more consolidated, because I do, you know, we have quite a few who are blacked out, who are not sharing the camera. But it's okay. Of course, you're still engaging, and that's the most important part. So that having been said, that somebody just jumped off because they didn't want me to see their camera. No. I want to see your smiling faces. All right. So everybody then that I can see, give me a thumbs up if this is making sense. If you're getting value out of this, give me a thumbs up. Yes. I see a hand coming out of nowhere. It's like a thumbs up. I guess, I don't know if that's David or not. But, you know, so halftime. I'm sorry, David.
There were 4 thumbs up in the room. And by the way, folks in the room, you're not on camera. So thumbs up is nice. Thank you.
Yes, this is a thumb. Okay. Thank you so much, everybody. And, you know, for halftime, it's like us to get together. I'm going to drink a little bit of water. That's what we do. You know, I'm not sweating, but I'm going to be wiping the sweat and all that kind of stuff, and getting ready for the second half, because the second half, you know, games are really won the last 2 minutes of the game. I mean, have you ever seen a game where it was like, this team is not going to win this thing? They're just not going to win. Like, you hear taps playing in the back, like, take them out now, because they're not going to win. And in that last 2 minutes, they pull it out. Okay, so that's why I say I am like water, that if you dam me up one way, I'm coming another way, because I'm going to make it happen. Okay, and that is the attitude that we have to have. And this has to be non-negotiable, that I will find the job that I'm looking for, because the job you're looking for, the real job you're looking for, is looking for you. They are. They're looking for you. They may not know it's you yet, but the job you are looking for is looking for you. And when you find it, it will be, there's this thing called sympathetic resonance. I don't know if you've ever heard that term before, but if you've ever seen a commercial or TV show where they have this opera singer, and usually it's a she, and she's standing there with this glass, and she hits this note, right? And the glass shattered. And everybody's like, wow, that's amazing. How did she do that? They must have tried like 50 glasses in order for her to do that. They only tried one glass. And let me tell you how they do that. It's a thing called sympathetic resonance. And it's scientific. And basically what it is that glass is tempered, right? When glasses are blown, they're tempered actually to a vibration. So that's why some glasses go ting and some glasses go ting, right? Because they're tempered. And so they're tempered to a vibration. And when the opera singer sings the note, which is also a vibration, it's tempered to the same note that the glass is tempered to. So when she sings that note, the glass says, that's my vibration. So I'm getting ready to vibrate at my vibration. I'm getting ready to vibrate and respond. But because the glass is rigid, it can't respond like, okay, it can't dance. So it has no recourse but to break to that note because it's sympathetically resonating with the vibration. And that's why it breaks like that. So that's why it shatters. So they only need one glass because all the glasses they have in that box are all tempered to that 440 or that 560 or whatever that vibration happens to be. So that was free. That wasn't even a part of the career triage, but it is to let you know there is a job out there that is waiting for you. That is waiting for you. And all you have to do is find that job. And it's nothing better than finding a job that really is the job that's for you. Like, I love what I do. I get to spend time helping people grow and move through different avenues. And I learn so much from my clients, just like they learn from me. And it's all one big happy family. I love what I do. Like, I could almost, I won't say get arrested because, I'm not going to do that. But this is almost illegal to have as much fun working as I have working. So I hope that everybody here finds that job that just makes you sing on Monday morning versus like, oh God, here we go again. Time out. Literally, we're at halftime. Time out for jobs that make you want to just cry. Life is too short to have a job that makes you want to just cry. I just want to say that. And we're going to move forward after halftime. So what do we got after halftime? I already talked about that. Second half is on. Let's go. Second half is on. So here's 7 things in your job search duffel bag. 7 strategies. These are the things that are going to make life move for you in your career as you're in your job search. So think about somebody who's like on a scavenger hunt, right? And certain things you have to have. You have to have a resume that speaks to where you want to go. A resume that speaks to where you want to go. I call it a targeted resume. So you have to really interrogate yourself to understand what you like, what you don't like, how to pitch what you have done, and how to make it make sense to the people that you're sharing the resume with. And remember, every single resume has to be customized. Can I say that again? Can everybody say that? Every single resume has to be customized. Now, when I was new in career search, I was like, why do the resumes that I made have to be customized? My resumes are the bomb. And that was back before you had the ATS and all that stuff going on. So my resumes really were the bomb. But now, even with the bomb resumes, you're coming in at 30%, 35% on those ATS checks. So every resume really does have to be really have to be customized. Then relevant skills. You need relevant skills for the job that you're looking for. So even if you are currently employed, you still need to always be on point with your skills. And I don't care, well, I do care, but it's kind of, half and half. Where do you get your knowledge from? Your skills have to be relevant and you have to be on point with it, because gone are the days where where most managers are going to come up to you and say, we want you to start on a new project, but before you do that, we want to send you to school. That kind of stuff is probably not happening in most companies anymore. Okay, so we have to have it, and we have to take it upon ourselves to get the learning. LinkedIn is available. LinkedIn Learning is available to us. If you don't have a LinkedIn Premium account, you can still get LinkedIn Learning through your library. Most libraries have a reciprocal agreement with LinkedIn, and you can go through your library portal and look for LinkedIn Learning, and you can access and create an account through there. Now, it's not tied to your personal LinkedIn account, so therefore you can't, when you take the classes, you cannot get the certifications moved over so that they will show up on your profile, but you can take an image of the certificates and then upload them. Yes, and they do the whole complement of courses can be found through your library on LinkedIn. You're talking top-notch marketplace knowledge and training in that portal. You cannot say that you don't have access to the knowledge. Then you have to have knowledge of your marketplace and your industries. You have to know, this is the Kenny Rogers approach. You have to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to run. Because some industries and some knowledges are just obsolete. And we have to face that. And if we're in a situation where our industry is disappearing, we have to reinvent ourselves. So don't wait. Don't be like Blockbuster. Oh, did you know Blockbuster had the opportunity to purchase Netflix, and they said nobody's ever going to get their videos through the mail? Blockbuster missed the gap. And they have one Blockbuster somewhere in Utah that's now a museum. It's blue and yellow, and it's a museum, one store. Don't miss the gap, all right? Because our industries, your skill set, you have to write this down. Salary equals value plus skill set multiplied by marketplace, multiplied by industry. So how you get paid is based on, yeah, you can send them those VHS tapes. I'm telling you, David, it's a museum now. So you have to know what your industry can bear. And that's a negotiation strategy. You have to know what your industry can bear to determine what salary equals skill set plus value multiplied by the industry. Okay, so certain skills, may be good skills, but you trying to put them in an industry at a certain position is not going to pay you. The best company in the world has somebody who's making minimum wage and somebody who's making millions of dollars. And what's the difference? Value. And I have a whole scale on value, but the difference is value. If I can replace you by walking out in the street and just inviting somebody to come in and interview, then your value is low. But I'm talking perceived value in the marketplace, because every human being is valuable, but the marketplace is relentless. And if they don't feel like you are valuable, your salary reflects that. If you can agree with that, just shake your head. Your salary reflects that. Okay, interviewing is the next thing. You have to have top-notch interviewing skills, which doesn't mean you come in like a robot, but it does mean that you understand what the interview is about. The interview is about them interviewing you and about you interviewing them. Okay, that's what interviewing is about. So don't take it that they are the big bad wolf. No, remember, the job you love and the job that loves you, you are the big bad wolf. You bring the value, but you have to come in and it has to be sympathetic resonance, if that makes sense, right? Sympathetic resonance. In that interview, I'm interviewing them, they're interviewing me, it works out, and we move forward. I'm interviewing them, they're interviewing me, it doesn't work out, and we move on our way. The next thing is networking. This is all a part of your duffel bag. Your network can determine your net worth. And, I can give you a million stories about networking. But who you know and not even so much who you know, who knows you? Like, who in the world knows you? I know we're six degrees of separation from a lot of people. But who knows you? Like, if your phone number comes up on their phone, would they answer it? Do they know who you are? Or they get ready to block you? So, okay. So networking is a mutually beneficial group of people with a common goal. So that's what networking is. You have to be, the word is not expert. It's about building relationships. You have to be expert at building relationship. And then then strategy. Search strategy. Nobody comes to a game. We don't come to the basketball game and say, oh, what do we think we're going to do here today? Think you can be point guard and maybe you could be center, and anybody here want to be forward? No, they all know what they're supposed to do, and they get out on the court and they do it. And they have a strategy. They know the team that they're playing. They've studied those people, and they know who the strong people are in what situations, and they know who the weak people are in what situations, and they try to put the weaker people in those weak situations all of the time. And they try to put the strong people in weaker situations all of the time. And when we go out into our job search, we have to have a strategy. I gave you part of a strategy earlier where, you plan it out, you look at it on Sunday, you execute Monday through Friday, take the weekend off, and then you revisit it on Sunday and you get ready for the next week. That's a part of a strategy. And then the last one is negotiation. You've heard this a million times. People leave money on the table, right? People leave money on the table all of the time. My 22-year-old son started a part-time job, and they wanted to give him I think it was $15 an hour. And I said, well, how much do you want to make? And he said, well, I want to make a lot, but what I think I could make is 18. I said, okay, well, you can do this. The only thing you can do is ask, and the only thing they can do is say no. And so I said, well, ask for 20, and he got 18. Right? Now, don't negotiate and in the job search, don't start with the negotiation and talking about money at the very beginning. And I know all of you probably know this and have heard this before, but when you get the offer is the time when you have the most leverage. The most leverage, because now they've said they want to take you to the dance. Before they say they want to take you to the dance, there's no need to pick out the colors, right? Don't pick out the colors yet, because nobody's asked you to go to the dance. But once they have said they want you, now they have eliminated your opposition. Now you have leverage. So the important thing for you to do in your strategy is to know what the market will bear for your skill set, and do not be afraid to ask for it. Okay? And it's time to go hard in the paint. It's just time to go hard in the paint. So what's happening in the marketplace that some of us may be facing is the great resignation, which has not been so great after all, right? Some people are really getting bit by that. You know, I say hold the job until you got a job. Don't just be walking off like I'm mad, I'm out of here. You know, I'm mad as all get out and I can't stand it anymore. That was a movie and that was fine, but it doesn't work in the marketplace because the companies are not going to go down. They're going to find somebody else, especially if you are in that lower value tier, right? If you're in a higher value tier, you're probably not going to just jump up and walk out. But that lower value tier, they don't have as much leverage as maybe they think they have. So the Great Resignation has been impacting the marketplace, and also the impending downturn has been impacting the mindset. Yes, that's exactly right, David. And Network, the movie. That's what I wanted to say, but I didn't say it because, you know, I'm being recorded. So, but the impending downturn, and it may happen hard, but again, how do we think about what we think about? There are so many people, history shows that so many people made millions of dollars during recessions and depressions. So if you're a person who might have the financial capacity and a capacity for a little bit of risk, now is the time to identify something, even if it is in the stock market. I would suggest, here's another book. I would suggest you read Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. That's another excellent book, okay? Because, you know, we're in the E quadrant, which is employees, but the people in the B quadrants, yes, and be careful shorting stocks. So that's why you have to learn, you know, learn what it is you need to do and find somebody who does it well. You know, I've heard that stockbrokers, you know, some people put stock in them, but some people don't, because stockbrokers are oftentimes broker than the people they're working for. So, you know, how am I going to help you with money when I not necessarily have a lot myself? Can you please rename Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki? Okay, he also wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Okay, so and it's an amazing book. All right, so the downturn can be a downturn, but doesn't have to be a downturn. So it's time to beat the buzzer, my friends. Bring your brilliance. Bring your brilliance. All of these gentlemen here brought their brilliance to the court. And when they stepped out on the court, people knew something was getting ready to happen. When you step out on the court of the job search, do employers, do your friends, do your people in your network, do they know something's getting ready to happen? Because David is bringing his brilliance. You know, the people know what's getting ready to happen, because Kelly is bringing her brilliance, or, you know, Robin is bringing her brilliance, Sonia is bringing her brilliance, Vance is bringing his brilliance. Do people know that something's getting ready to go down because you have brought your brilliance, and that you have a brilliance. Each and every one of us have a brilliance, and the opportunity for us to find that brilliance and present that to the marketplace is what's going to make the difference between us finding the job we love and finding the job we love that loves us, or just finding another job. And I think it's time out for finding another job, but it's time to really do what it is we need to do, which is win the game. Okay, so anybody have any questions? Thank you so much. Anybody have any questions that they would like to pose at this time? It's overtime, game is up, the buzzer, and now any questions?
This is Sonia.
Yes, Sonia.
Hi. I just love what you said and how you really analyze and use, basketball, in the job search and the settings that you actually set out. Because I was thinking along those lines a couple of times, and I actually relate to a lot of what you said. That was my comment anyway. So I totally enjoy that.
Thank you, Sonia. I appreciate you. I would also like to share though, that if you would like a consultation, I do have an offer of a 30-minute free consultation. If you go to janicecoleman.com, it will take you to a screen that will allow you to fill out a schedule form,
Mhm.
and you can have a free 30-minute consultation. janicecoleman.com.
Oh, thank you. Interesting.
Okay, hold on a second. I'm looking at the questions. How to balance between a targeted resume and a general LinkedIn profile. The LinkedIn profile really cannot be, it can be targeted as the resume should be targeted, but the resume is going to need to be customized to a job search. So when you are creating your LinkedIn profile, you will give all of the places that you've worked and a blurb, not bullet by bullet. You don't want to put in all of the activities that you have done in your career. You want to give an overall summary. That's how I help my clients to create their LinkedIn profile, but the resume is more detailed. But then when you go to customize it, the customization should be based on keywords and phrases and things that maybe, maybe if you see a job description that says valid driver's license needed. If that's on the job description, I'm putting it on my resume somewhere, extra skills in the skill section. Why? Because if the ATS is picking it up, that's going to give me some points, if that makes sense. Does that make sense, Vance? Okay, any other questions?
Anybody here have a question for Janice while you have the opportunity? And we did post in chat her contact information, so that's, we'll make sure you get that a little later.
Absolutely.
Just comment on the LinkedIn there. LinkedIn should kind of be something that whets someone's appetite to want to look at you further.
Right.
So, understanding that it's not the detailed resume as it would be, but rather something that a recruiter or so would look at and say, hey, I think this person might have the skills that I need for this position. Let me dig into it. And then, you would present a resume that gets into the details of what they need.
Yes, and I agree with you in that point. Excuse me, Donald, I agree with you. And also, I would suggest that you not put your resume on LinkedIn. I just 150% agree with myself on that. And the reason why is because you want to take your lookers on through a process. Okay, so LinkedIn is about marketing. So if you're thinking about marketing and you want to make sure that your headline speaks to your core competency, okay, you don't want a whole lot of if you look at my LinkedIn, and I hope that all of you will send me a LinkedIn invitation, that would be amazing. I would appreciate it. Janice Coleman, and I have a red jacket on. If y'all didn't know that red is my favorite color, it is. So I have a red jacket on just in case there are a couple of other Janice Colemans out there, but you know my face. So, but so my profile is more marketing for business, if that makes sense. So I'm B to C and B to B, but you all are C to B. So you want to make sure that your LinkedIn profile, your headline speaks to your core competency, because that is actually the first thing that is searched. When a recruiter puts in a search, the question you have to ask is, what do they search for that's going to find me? And thank you, David, for putting the LinkedIn link in there, the URL. The question you have to ask yourself is, what are they going to search for when they're looking for me? And you can have you don't want to have so much a description that you lose that core competency, because that's what a recruiter is going to put into LinkedIn. They're not going to say, they might say highly motivated, but they're probably not. They're going to say senior accountant. They're going to say, they're going to say entry level administrative assistant. They're going to say something like that. They're not going to get into all of the other words. So you have to make sure that you use that real estate. Think of it this way, everything on your LinkedIn profile is real estate. Everything on your resume is real estate. If it doesn't make a point, it shouldn't be there. On Indeed, yes. The question was asked, should we put a resume on Indeed? Yes, because that Indeed is a job board. But on LinkedIn is more marketing and networking than it is a job board. Even though it does now have that capacity, but when you are finding a job, your recruiters are going to find you based on your profile. And then you can put your resume in there. But I want that recruiter to see my profile, and then I want them to reach out to me. Then I want them to send my resume to them. Then I want them to schedule an appointment. Your resume's responsibility is to get an appointment for a call or something next. And so that's so very important. If you're not getting calls, two things, and then I'm going to end here if there are no more questions. If you're not getting a call, two things. Your resume is not speaking to where you want to go, and that's the one thing really, bottom line, because your resume is not working. It's not going where you need to go, and it's not telling the story you needed to tell. So if you're not getting calls, that's the issue. And then if you are getting calls, but it's a mismatch, then your resume is speaking to the place that you're not trying to go. It's the beginning of your job search, the weight is on your ability to get the resume out there and what the resume does once it gets out there.
Janice, this is Bill Pagula. How are you?
I'm amazing. How are you?
I'm great. Janice, could you comment on, early in the presentation you talked about knowing your opponent. Can you comment on using LinkedIn to help you know your opponent better? The opponent being maybe the target company?
Yes. So of course you're going to do research, and with LinkedIn, you can research the company, but you want to research outside of the LinkedIn world with regard to what the company's about and what people are saying about the company. But you can also identify people who are employees of that company. And if you are in the same groups with that person, or if you have mutual connections, you may be able to, to kind of look at how many people in the company have people on LinkedIn. Go to that company page inside of LinkedIn and look at those individuals. And if there's somebody with some type of mutual connection, you might be able to have a conversation with them about that company. Hey, I've always wanted to work for, Gary Vandercheck, and I think he's an amazing person, and I see that you work for him, and I really would like to ask if we could have an informational meeting. This is not an interview. This is me and aside to you all. It's not an interview, it's an informational meeting, just to get some insight into what it is to work for a company like that. So that is a way that you can, leverage your information on LinkedIn by reaching out to the people, or just, I hate to use the words, the S word, which is stalking, but, follow. You can follow their CEO, you can follow, the company, you can follow the industry, you can follow, that's the word I want to use, right? Follow, not stalk, follow. Is how does that sound for you?
Bill's giving a thumbs up.
Okay, did I see him? Where are you, Bill?
But he's here, off
Oh,
camera.
he's here. Okay. Yes. So yes,
One of the
David, and you're correct. It's not stalking, it's networking.
It's a fine line between networking and stalking.
It is. Stalking will get you in jail.
Yeah, stalking won't get you the job.
Yes, exactly.
Janice,
Okay.
I have a question, please.
Yes.
It's Sonia here again. I have a question. I was in a famous retail furniture store recently, and I purchased an item, and one of the salesperson was just talking to me, and we really had a good rapport, and he took my information, and he thought, gosh, you have a wonderful personality. You can, we have openings at this place. You can actually just, come in and get an interview. And I really didn't think anything of it because it's completely different than my previous profession. And I thought, let me think about this. And apparently the manager or the owner actually called and left a message on my phone because they want to interview me. Now, I was wondering, how can I proceed with this? Because I'm a little bit nervous because it's not my field. But it's something that they saw in me that they think, gosh, this job would really suit you at this particular moment. So do you have any ideas?
I would never turn down an interview unless it's way out of, way in left field, and now I'm in the baseball, right? I wouldn't turn it down, but you have to look at, because sometimes things, you can go down a rabbit trail, and then other times it is kismet, okay? It is the thing. So you have to look at what your goals are, what your vision is for your employment, and see if you can see your transferable skill set, because you probably have an amazing set of transferable skills.
I do.
Yeah, which could be retrofitted into this new opportunity. And so I wouldn't necessarily turn it down. I would prepare and ask them that question. What is it, even the person who obviously connected you with the owner, what is it that you saw in me, and how do you feel that I might fit, and then listen, because interviewing is about you interviewing them and them interviewing you. Now it's you interviewing them, because they called you.
Right. Thank you.
So it's you interviewing them.
Great.
And
Thank
listening.
you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Do we have any questions in the chat, David?
There are no more questions that I see in the chat, so it could be that we've completed our overtime.
All right.
Going twice. Actually, there was no overtime in the All-Star game. They planned only a home run derby after the 9th inning. So they're really looking, maybe next year it'll be like Little League, there'll be 6 innings.
Yeah, look, you just never know. But every game, you got to go in. This is the thing. And I'll leave you all with this. And I definitely would want every last person here, if we're not already connected, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. And if you feel like your career's in the ER and you're trying to keep it from going to the morgue, please schedule a consultation, absolutely free. I would say this: when we go into a game, we go in with the mindset to win, not to not lose, if that makes sense. Go in to win this. I'm in it to win it. And I guarantee you, if you do the things that I've shared with you in this short period of time that we have been together, I guarantee you that you will be able to restart any career search wherever you have been in that search right now. Restart it and move forward with the idea that you're going to win this. The non-negotiable is that you never, ever give up. I want to thank you for your participation, the opportunity to be with you. You all are amazing, and have an amazing weekend.
Well, Janice, thank you so much. We're getting a couple of quiet applause, I guess. But, we're getting applause here. So thank you so much. There were some nice appreciative comments as well in the chat. Hopefully you got to see those as well. But a couple of things that were just takeaways for me. And it's not just your message, but you're reinforcing what lots of people say and believe, that you customize your resume to match the job description. So when you say how many resumes do you have, you don't say I have one resume, it's one per job. And you find some of the words and phrases in the job description and reuse those in your bullet points in your summary of your resume. I thought that was just spot on, absolutely. And keeping that positive mindset, be in it to win, not to be in it to not lose. And also what you said earlier was, job search is full time. But even when you had a full-time job, you took a coffee break occasionally. So don't worry about taking that coffee break. So, do keep yourself in good spirits, do things to keep yourself active, maybe step away from the screen or whatever. But so while Janice is absolutely right, job search for now at least is a full-time job. But remember, in your full-time job, you have time to stretch, to relax, take a break, do what it is you need to keep your spirits up and your motivation up. So I really appreciated the comments that you had there. And just to follow up, a question did come up, will this slide deck be available? So this slide deck is not available. And the basic reason why is, these were bullets for discussion points. So instead, the video is available. And if you are not yet familiar, you go to our website, psgofmercercounty.org, and click on the right side link for the YouTube channel. It'll be there, if not by tonight, by tomorrow. And so you can watch the video. Also, we'll post the chat log. So the chat is on the right side of, well, I don't know, on your screen, on my screen here. And so if you missed something, or if you want Janice's phone number and you didn't quite have the opportunity to take it down, it will be in the chat log. That'll be later as well. And to keep to our sports theme, let you know what's coming up over the next couple of weeks. Next week, Janelle Rosino will be here. Recruiter Janelle Rosino. She is a recruiter in the IT field. And keeping to the sports theme, how to grand slam your search, 7th inning summer stretch. So we're keeping that theme, connecting themes. It's kind of like a dominoes game, right? One number on one side connects to the same number on the next time. And we had the dominoes last week because our presenter last week was Jan. So we have 2 Janices in a row. That was connected. So next week is another sports theme. So that's next week, July 28th. We will be right back here, and we're still streaming, of course. And the following week, August 5th, Coach Jeff Altman will be presenting Recession-Proof Your Career. So if you're concerned about the economy, is there an impending recession? Not sure that he is an expert on the economy, but he is an expert on helping you protect yourself against issues in your career and surprises. So hopefully you'll be able to see us then or visit us here as well. So we are meeting here, of course, at the Princeton Public Library. I hope you can come visit us soon if you've only been streaming, and continue to come when you want for those of you that are here. Other groups that are available as well, don't forget our cousin organizations, PSG of Central New Jersey, PSGCNJ.biz. They meet on Mondays at 10:30. And PSG of Morris County, PSGMC.org, meets Wednesdays at 9:30. So that's what's going on. Now, we do have a raffle today. It is the last copy of the book, LinkedIn. I had 3 copies that was given to us by the author, Jeremy Shipling. And so we will have a raffle. The good news is I already picked the winner. How does that work? One of the people here won the book 2 weeks ago. And 2 of the people here, Leonardo and Miranda, you came together? Oh, Miranda's the other person? Oh, okay. Are you friends?
No, we're related. This is my son.
Oh, I see. Very good. Then I'll make it very easy. I will give it to your son, Leonardo. LinkedIn. Alan, coach in the back, has been almost done with this book. He loves it. I've got it at home. I'm going to pick it up very soon. So rather than raffle, I think you'll be the winner today. And so we'll give this book to you. So congratulations. Yay, virtual applause. Yay. And so very grateful for Jeremy for being able to, and the library for being able to give us this book. If you weren't here, it was a couple months ago, Jeremy gave a presentation, virtual presentation, through the library, but it was co-sponsored by our group as well, and he was able to give us some copies of the book to give out for our first few return meetings here. So sometimes it's good when there's only a few of you here. You're doubly a winner. So that's our meeting for the day, and I want to thank you all very much. We're going to keep the online session open, but I think what we're going to do here is just mute that a little so our conversations here don't step on your virtual conversations, and your virtual conversations among yourselves don't step on us. But until we get to see you, hopefully next week, we'll simply say, bye, everybody.